So obviously to get to this stage I've looked through all the footage and there's some horrendous moments where you sound American.
I don't even sound American, it's worse than American. Yeah, it's awful, it's cringe, I know, and you're gonna think I'm a complete villain watching it, which I am. I'm super pumped a lot of the time. Do you want me to just sound pumped? My first podium I say I'm super pumped, but I don't look it, I'm just looking miserable as normal. But I've got to watch him edit this because a lot of it can't be seen. But there's some very questionable haircuts, there's some awful sunglasses. I've got my shades on. Everyone hates what I like. Hopefully you can see the funny side rather than just go, he's a f***ing villain. Right, so we're back. For this episode, we're going to do a little bit about my time, or talk about my time when I was in America. I can pretty much say I'm loving life in America right now. At first I didn't like it, but now I am loving it. Yeah, so at the end of 2008, we basically moved to America. I went out there, I was with Bossom Media Group. Ed was out there with me at the time. He was filming for Troy Adamitis, who makes all the great outdoors videos. You've probably seen them of all the AMA Nationals. He obviously got a lot of footage because he was living with me at the time. It was just basically us two out there living the dream. With it being locked down, we've sort of gone through that and just thought it'd be quite interesting really to go through it, talk about my time there. Does it look cool? Huh? So I'll start from the very beginning. In 2007 was my first year on Red Bull KTM, and then I rode for them in the World Championships 2007, finished second in the world. Again, I finished second in the world in 2008, and then at the end of that year, I moved to America. I signed a deal for the factory KTM team over there, which at the time was the Muscle Milk KTM. So I went there, it was MDK, Muscle Milk KTM at the time. It was quite a big team. Had Will Hahn, Davalos, Martin Davalos, Justin Brayton, Ryan Sipes. Kurt Nickel was my team manager at the time. He was sort of head of KTM North America, I think. I bought a house out there in Temecula. 18 at the time, was I 18 or 19? So I was 18. At that time, Temecula and Murrieta was where most of the riders stayed. The test tracks was about 30 minutes away, and there was a lot of tracks within distance. Just sort of moved in, started painting it. Just clueless really. I remember the bill companies, like the water company, cut our water off because we hadn't paid the bill. We just didn't know what we was doing really. We just bought this house, moved in, and was winging it. But we sort of learned as we went along. Yeah, so obviously, as you can imagine, being young, like I think Ed was 17, I was 18, maybe turned 19 out there throughout the season. Yeah, we just lived in a house on our own. We had a pool. I don't know, we climbed up on the roof, jumped into the swimming pool. Ah! I got scared. Flipping BMXs into the pool, riding around the neighbourhood. Best week wouldn't jump that. You got the wrong shoes. We're special. Riding a little KTM, we bought a goldfish. We was just knobs basically, weren't we? We was just kids living in America. Look at it. They like to hide behind stuff, the lady said. Me, oh no. Look at the reflection on that now. Here boy, welcome to your new home. Yeah, my first year out there I raced 2009, 2010, and in 2009 I focused solely on the outdoor nationals. I think that was a decision made by myself and Kurt Nickel at the time, just because I was still young, I didn't have much Supercross experience. And we just thought we'd use that time to get ready for the outdoors, and I think it was a really good move really. So actually the first day we went out there, my first time testing the bike was when it was New Year's Eve. So I went riding at Milestone, the bike cut out on the tape of a jump. I crashed, knocked myself out, punctured my lung, and broke a small bone in my elbow. Got the ambulance to hospital, woke up in there Still didn't know where I was just Ed in that hospital with me. Literally flew in that morning, I think I must have picked him up, went to the track. Then he was only 17, so he had to follow the ambulance to the hospital, never driven in America. But I didn't even know where we lived at the time because I didn't know the address. So then he had to find it from a friend, drive back there. It was just a nightmare really, but we got over that, and then I started riding a little bit later than originally planned, obviously because of my injuries. But I think I had still 2-3 months before the Nationals started to get ready. So we used to ride Paris a lot. Comp Edge was one of my favourite tracks. That was north of Glen Helen, like up into the desert a little bit. I used to love riding there. We used to go up to Mike Alessi's place. I used to love riding there. Tony Alessi was great. We used to like simulate, do like race day simulation. So it'd give me sort of a guide of where I was at sort of at that time. For the training side of it, whilst I was out there, we employed Tyrone White, son of Russell White, who is a huge trainer in South Africa, very clued up. He trained Tyler Rattray the year Tyler beat me in the World Championship, which was in 2008. So we used to cycle a lot. I remember cycling some days 5 hours through the Cresto, all around the back of Temecula. Watch my bike. Ain't good bike. Don't worry, mate. Watch my bike. What? Not watch it fall. Where'd you find that funny though? I think we done a lot of everything, a lot of swimming, a lot of like underwater breath holds in the pools. That was a big part of Ty's training at the time. Ty used to cook for us, he used to take the food to the races. He was into all the vitamins and stuff like that, so he done that for us. I remember going into the vitamin store and spending 1,600 quid. Oh. My first race of the 2009 season was at Glen Helen. Ed didn't actually work for the Great Outdoors series at that round. He picked up for the round 2. So the first round at Glen Helen, I hadn't had any proper professional racing since the last round of the GPs, but we did do a couple of small races. It was called an REM race. I used to race like weekends at Glen Helen. Done a few starts on the Wednesday. I remember wheeling back from one of them and looping out, snapping my rear mud guard, but it went to Glen Helen. First race a whole shot, and then they red flagged it. Second race I think a whole shot again.
And no racing here in Moto 2 from Glen Helen. Big, long, wide start straight into the Talladega first turn. It's a KTM again on the inside. Tommy Searle again. And he's got one of his teammates, Martin Davalos, with him. So far, Searle able to withstand this challenge from Dungey, but for how long? Championship, Tommy Searle on the inside, Ryan Dungey on the outside. Dungey, that was a surprising pass. He just worked his way around Searle. Super rough racetrack, the line just worked a little bit. Oh, Dungey hooked up in that rut. Look at the overall, Dungey, Pourcel, and Rattray, but you see how close all these guys are on points.
Second race, I think a whole shot again. I got past on the first lap, I think, though. Probably come round around third place. I went 4-4 actually for 4th overall. And that year, Christophe Pourcel was racing as well. Tyler Rattray ended up coming out to race in America as well. We ended up racing, both of us, in America in 2009, so it's quite a cool little story because we were rivals there and then we were rivals again in America. For some reason, the way my bonuses were structured, the 4-4, the point system was strange at the time, but it gave me 3rd overall, so I actually got paid for 3rd overall. But then they changed it after that. Hangtown I went, he started working, so we got a lot of footage from this, but a 30th in the first race and a 9th in the second race. I'm not actually sure what happened in the 30th. Obviously had a crash, I guess. But yeah, 39, so obviously coming off a full 4th and then getting a 30th and a 9th, probably took the wings out of my sails a little bit. That's the way it goes, but I think we got a lot of footage from that, so yeah, nice to, you'll see a lot of the racing action as well now.
Like some of those over there were a little more muddier than normal.
Yeah, it's actually completely different from what I'm used to.
That's a whole shot right there. Back out, look at it good. Don't wait to fill it out on the first couple laps.
yeah, Freestone, Texas was round 3. So hot. I remember I've never raced it in conditions like that. I remember racing the year before Italy, and it was so hot, but it was a different sort of heat in Texas. So humid. I remember feeling like my legs were on fire. 6.5 in Texas for 6 overall, so I think I was quite happy with that. It was like a sandy flat ground in Texas. Quite a nice track, like just the heat was brutal.
Eyes down that back bit. With your gloves and your goggles.
Back the bikes up. Riders only. Go back to your spots. We're repicking the gates. Back the bikes up to the wall. Riders, go back to your gate. Your recovery time's pretty amazing, guys.
Need to pick the pace up. Second one was better. I just need to believe in myself and do it.
I remember you used to take quite a shine into the muscle milk girls.
Yeah, I was young.
Stare at them quite a bit.
Yeah, they was older. I think they were the older muscle milk birds. I was young, so probably took quite a liking to a lot of them, to be fair.
I was gonna go to Canyon Lake tomorrow and chill. I don't know whether to go tomorrow or not. I don't know what ladies will be there.
Found out the monster girls like podium boys, which is a big plus out here. So we're back in the present time. At the beginning of the video, I did tell you that I was a bent, and that's proof of it right there. So High Point, I actually remember quite a lot about High Point. I remember flying in, I can't remember who we fly into, but a lot of the races where you fly into, it's long flights from California. I think a lot of people don't realise how far the travelling is. Sometimes it'd be like a 5-hour flight, layover for 3 hours, and another 4-hour flight just to get across the country. High Point, I remember going there, and it was my first podium, so a good day. That track's a lot like Europe. Yeah, I think that's probably the closest one. If someone's to compare a track to Europe, they always say the Europeans do well at High Point, and I did. I got a 4th and a 3rd for my first podium, so a very good day there. I think actually Kennard crashed in the last lap, didn't he?
Oh, we should have done this in the week, not now, Tajan. What about preparation, not the morning before the race?
If you haven't done it during the week, we've got to get it in.
Yeah, let's do it now then.
On the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championships this week by our friends at Central Bank. What are they looking for?
Well, obviously they're looking to get a good start. That'll make their day a lot easier.
Yeah, so anyway, my first podium, who'd you say won? Pourcel, Dungey, myself.
Yeah.
So a mega weekend, really.
Happy though on the podium, weren't you?
Yeah, looking back at those, I was never the happiest for some reason. I was happy, like I'm always happy. I'm quite a happy-go-lucky person, but I just don't come across happy, and I didn't on that podium either. I got a high five though to my mechanic. I was happy at the end, I think.
Tommy Searle!
Yeah, that's the key, I guess. It's all coming together now. It's took a few runs, and I'm so happy to get my first podium. They've been behind me from the beginning of the year. It's hard being my first year over. Everything's new, but yeah, I'm having fun now.
That's it for this episode, as it's already 15 minutes, and we don't want to bore you too much, but there was more footage than we thought we had, really, so there'll be another part of my USA trip. Come back for part 2.